I was actually quite surprised that the Sevo client let me get in time to see the conclusion of the first pistol round, which is a fairly impressive start before we even begin. Okay, and we're back in. So Endpoint pushing through, getting the next couple of rounds on the board, taking it to a 2-1. Best of 3 map, or best of 3 contest this one. Just got to get everything lined up so that I'm not cutting off the HP, etc. for you guys if I can. In fact, no such luck because it's taken them out. Okay. Well, never mind. On board then, 3 players from Endpoint pushing towards the Titanic and now decide to fall away from there. Mono up close at the crack. Going to try and do what we can from there. Taking Aaron down to 14 points of health, so he's going to duck in. Maybe needs one of his teammates to come in and go for the reface in that position, which Pulse does. He steps away purely because of lack of ammunition, but in the meantime, the plant has come in over towards the A site. Mono goes for the push, should have an opportunity on Aaron if he sees him, and does. A little bit of spectator delay there with that little headshot. Mac's going to come in and try and stop them from retrieving the weapon that Aaron had in his hand. It might be an AK, and down that AK goes. Max gets his second on Pete. And Pulse cleaning up with his third of the round, I believe it is, taking it to a 3-1 advantage. And I think we are now underway, technical issues dealt with, and all of that good stuff. So we're in for one heck of a game tonight, best of 3 contest. Got Jakey filling in for the team tonight. Probably tonight feeling a bit like I did at the most recent I-Series, which will probably be a story for half-time. I won't bore you with that now, but went to the last I-Series as a player, which was an interesting experience, often for the wrong reasons actually, but... so maybe that's something we could do to pass the time when we get to the end of the map, or maybe half-time, depending on how long they take as a break. Just seen the maps tonight, actually, so we've got Cobble to start. My personal favourite train, map number 2. And then Inferno to close out if we see it and if we need it. And this is the lower bracket, round 3. And we're down to the final 8 of the Sevo main playoffs as Crank and Pete get a frag apiece. Might have a chance for some more. That flash high causing real problems. There's numbers in favour of Seal Esports. 2-1. Luzza with the bomb in hand, so he's going to get a plant down. It's going to be money in the bank if nothing else, but at this early stage on Cobblestone, you don't want to be dropping too many of your T rounds. That plant is going to come in. $800 in the coffers. But with the AWP, he hasn't got the same ability. Looks like he might have got out of dodge, though. That's something to work with. What a shot that is on Oscar. And has the opportunity, had a second bite of the cherry. And wasn't able to pick it up. Luzza, though, nearly bringing that home for the team. Does get the plant in, but that is a crucial CT round for Seal Esports as they grab themselves an AWP in the process as well. Endpoint going to be able to keep on buying into this next round by the looks of things. That's the console, that's not the scoreboard, that's not what you want to see. Pulse going huge already, 10-2 his score. Coming up with some big frags with the AK over towards the B site. They'll be needing a few more of those going forward. Still waiting for Jakey to get on the scoreboard, and he'll like to do that. Maybe not to settle the nerves as such, knowing the amount of experience that he has and knowledge of the game. That's not so much a thing, but it's nice just to get a foothold in the game. We start to get familiar and some level of comfort at least. So Mike Max over towards the mid area. As in they go, and they've got control of the fountain. Aaron picking up a double set of frags there already. Plant's going to come in. Chance for the instant reset from Endpoint, who have got a full buy and have barreled through pretty comprehensively into the B site. Haven't made full use of drop down yet, so that's another avenue that they can look for going forward. As Mighty Max, he goes over towards the A site. Go play the lurker role, maybe try and catch someone rotating in from behind. Needs to have his weapon out, hint, hint. Gets out at just the nick of time. I don't know if he heard anything, but he certainly heard that now. Knows that there is frags to be had. Weapons to be claimed over towards the side area. Crank does get that one frag, throws a smoke out, and I think he might be tempted to push this actually. Which maybe isn't the best plan, stepping into such an open area. Pino might have the chance to get a shot on Jakey, who does. Maybe hunts a little too aggressively for that first frag that we talked about, and doesn't quite come away with it. Wasn't able to set things up for a teammate to grab that AWP off them either, so no such luck there. But they have forced CL Esports back onto an eco. Voice crack early on, 6 rounds into the first map for a best of 3. That is not a good sign. I'm sure we can keep powering through. You're on board with Crossy for the rest of the evening on Endpoint TV. Crank getting a little aggressive over towards the side area. Full push at mid coming. Jakey maybe going to have first engagement over towards Connector, looks in that direction. Mighty Max is going to try and get in. He's got the bomb in hand, so he maybe wasn't the best person to be making the push towards side, where Crank is going to be walking in from Stables. Got a player, that's Pulse over towards Hull House, picks up the frag on him. So he's looking in, dealing with the attentions of the CTs coming in from that direction. Mighty Max drops himself off of the site, conscious of a player over towards Stables. Jakey gets himself on the board with a frag over towards balcony. Mighty Max spots a player over towards side, who's very quickly going to get picked up by Aaron, who catches him. Mighty Max gets a frag on Oscar as he makes his way in, and they're going a little bit one at a time here at CL Esports, which is never going to work. Both of these sites, when you get yourself dug into them on T side, they are very, very difficult for a CT to get in because of the angles you can hold. And this is partly to do with the balance of the map. Let's have a fly over real quick towards the B side. So normally if you have players coming in from drop down and from Long B or from Titanic, then you're most likely going to have players round about the fountains. So from there, when you get down to ground level, you haven't got too much to aim at. You've only really got the head, especially with some smoke coverage there. You don't really get to engage until players have come across to this box. For the players that are looking into the site, they've got so much more of you to aim for. But let's go back over that direction again. Sorry guys, I should have thought about this. If you are holding your sight down and you've got players instead rotating in from the connector door, from drop down, you've got some very tight angles for these CTs rotating in from A to try and work their way into the site. Luzza gets Crank as he tries to jump through the connector, and they've taken a connector split actually over towards the A site. This is a decent little tactic to use on pistol round. Swarm 5 players into drop down, push through connector, get any players rotating there, clear the A site, and then get the plump. Can be quite easy to trap players over towards the A site. So Mighty Max playing the lurk role, hunting around for frags when the bomb's planted, using some freedom to move about the map. As down goes Luzza. Pio. 1 HP in a dream. Gonna grab what you can. And we'll get out of there. Team Endpoint goes 6-2. And the important thing when you're playing Cobblestone, every round counts on CT side. Now if you get 2, 3, 4 rounds CT side, you've probably done a half decent job, to be completely honest, which is ridiculous, I know. But that is the way that it tends to play. So a big reason that Endpoint are hunting around the map like they are looking for frags when they got the bomb plant is to try and put that economic pressure on, try and drop some of those weapons. Because what actually happened there is Seal have got themselves 3 AKs out of it. And how often we talked about regulars that have seen me commentating, referring to on CT side, how you really start to feel the pressure. It costs you more to buy the rifles and to buy the armor and to buy the utility on CT side generally than it does on T side. So when things aren't going your way, you feel the squeeze of the finances so much more. And if you can steal a few free AKs out of the cheap rounds, then it gives that extra bit of utility to try and just steal as Keo gets 1 in the drop, gets 2 in the drop before Luzza with the AWP, third man down, comes in to take him out of there, and it's a shame that's not the way it should have gone. Mono, he's probably going to get another frag from this drop down area. No, actually Aaron works well, peeks the corner, creates the angle, and uses that to his advantage. Pulse then walking from Long B, where he's got a number of frags already. Gets back to the tree, but is able to flick despite Oscar having the edge on him there. Pulse down to 5 points of health with 35 seconds left to go on the clock. Going to try and put it to 7-2 if they can. So Luzza looks to put the plant down. Throws the fake, actually buys time for Aaron to come in, knowing where these players are. Pete steals a cheap one there over towards Rock. Aaron knew exactly where he was. Now he's going to try and walk around the fountain. Luzza actually doesn't spot him. He's looking in the direction of Titanic, basically covering Pulse's back. And Pulse is going to grab himself an AWP out of that. And what's his frag tally so far? 12, okay. So, impressive stuff from Pulse early doors. And Cobblestone now plays a lot like Train used to back in the day. I can't remember the first time that Train appeared in CSGO. It took a while before it actually appeared in the map pool again, which I was very, very happy about, but it's since changed. But the Source iteration of Train played much like Cobblestone does now. Well, it was potentially very heavily CT-sided. As long as the CTs knew what they were doing in terms of locking down the main area and then getting the retakes into B, the kind of scores you'd see of a Train team that knew how to lock down CT side would be similar, like a 12-2, 12-3 or a 13-2. Wow, my maths. The curse of the UK commentators might even come to 30. As Pulse lights up Keo, and he very wisely gets out of there. I think actually, given the weapon that he's got in hand and his low HP, he maybe would have been better suited to sticking in there and just doing what damage he can, as he's dropped out to a point where he's out of the effective range of the MP9 that he has in his hand. But maybe gives him a chance to regroup and get to a position where he can do some damage, and here we go now. He's close enough where he can light someone up, but no need as Mono and Oscar, and then Mono again cleans up the remaining 3 Endpoint players, and it is 7-3. 3 crucial CT rounds in the books though. I think slightly worrying early signs. At least this first map, if nothing else. I think this is part of the problem that you have, and why best of threes isn't a bad way to go. Because if you end up on a map like Cobblestone, which plays so heavily one way, you get yourself on the easier T side, and then you don't put enough rounds on the board, really. And it puts so much pressure on you early on. It's times like that where you can drop a map. You can get caught cold, for example, first game out. Maybe you haven't had the proper warm-up time or whatever. It takes you a little while to get into things. You don't put enough rounds up on the easier side, and then you're stretched. At least for the best of 3, you have that extra bit of leeway to work with. Pete with the opening gambit over towards Max, running away pretty much. That was that's an interesting little situation. Jakey missing by about an inch and a half with that shot over towards the connector. Does make a nice trade on the guy in mid to begin with, but for Seal Esports, 4-1. Seems fairly likely they're going to be able to push through and take this round as well. Pulse walks out. Makes a little too much noise in the process, and Mono is able to pick him up there. 7-4. Endpoint stepping into the danger zone on this first map. Pulse with a dig in hand. See some crisp one bullets to the dome from him, maybe. This point just spamming corners before they make their move up into the top of mid. Relative success, but Frank able to get one, able to call a second player into Wholehouse, sorry. Frank drops the bomber before down he goes. Mighty Max, he's got two. Pulse got one as well, and Mighty Max has picked up his third. Grabs himself an AWP, 12 HP. Last player, Oscar over towards B long. Maybe hasn't got a call of the bomb sighted. One of his teammates, I'm sure they would have seen that drop though. Max, we got the wonders of X-ray and hindsight and all those wonderful things. Knowing what we could see, he could have sprinted and got the bomb planted and forced Oscar to hurry up a little bit, but instead he's able to pick his spot. That spot seems to be a wall at this point. Seems like maybe a premeditated decision to save against a player with 12 HP and an AWP. This I don't understand. This makes absolutely no sense at this point. Especially looking at the finances. On the off chance that he did go down, I think the rest of his team can buy. Mini reset, I guess, so be a little bit scrubby. But I'm not sure they've gained a whole amount just by keeping that AK. As the pause comes in. Technical problem for Seal Esports. I'm not sure exactly how long this is going to take. So just while we try and get a little bit of information on how long this delay is going to last for. So I say that I feel Jakey's pain on 3 and 8 so far. The I-Series Insomnia 62. As not this weekend just gone, but the one before. And a little bit of a turn up for the books, but I was roped in to play for the first time in, I don't know, I think the last time I played at an event might have been Epic 12 here in the UK, something like that. But one of the teams that I do quite a bit of commentating work for, Blackout Gaming, their final event before the team folded, the guy that lives in Hungary couldn't make it, and after plenty of tryouts, I, by some miracle, was able to get in and was picked to fill in as their fifth, and played at the I-Series event. And I think it's a sign. It's so often that you watch these teams play in the UK or mainland European teams, and you don't really know what kind of level they're at compared to your level. It's very difficult unless you play against them in scrims, etc., to know what the difference in skill is. And I got a real first-hand taste of that.
Shadows causing an outbreak. I'm turning the light. We're gonna light it up, oh, light it up, ooh, light it up, causing an outbreak. I'm turning the light. We're gonna light it up, oh, light it up, ooh, light it up, causing an outbreak. I'm turning the lights on. Open your eyes and see the people chanting, slowly falling apart. The silence causing an earthquake. I'm wishing upon a star. This time I'm feeling higher, and I know I can be taller. Shadows causing an outbreak. I'm turning the light. We're gonna light it up, oh, light it up, ooh, light it up, causing an outbreak. I'm turning the light. We're gonna light it up, oh, light it up, ooh, light it up, causing an outbreak. I'm turning the lights on.
Okay, guys, we are back to it. Hopefully technical problems are over, both for me and for the Seal Esports guys. So first round goes to Team Endpoint of this second half. Lots are going huge with the 4 fairly crisp one-taps. Well, 3 one-taps, plus he made a bit of a meal of the second frag over towards drop down. Maybe was a little too slow to save his teammate there as well. But it doesn't matter when you pick up that all-important first pistol round CT side on Cobblestone. They work with the blueprint here. Get himself to 14-4 with the weapon advantage that they have. Aaron, don't get too aggressive. Oh no, guys. What have you done? And Mighty Max gets taken down as well by Crank as the plant is going to come in over towards the B site. This is something that I see from Endpoint in a number of situations on a number of maps. They do this on Inferno Banana CT side as well. And they do it with weapons where they play up and be quite aggressive. Basically 2 players stacked up towards the wall. And I don't think it really gives you any advantage. You know, over towards the Titanic area, you've got the weapon advantage. Now they had SMGs against Deagles and CZs and that sort of thing. The one thing that you don't do when you've got players with Eagles is step into their angles. It's a bit like you wouldn't step into an AUX scope all that often. And that's pretty much what you're doing when you go and face off against a Deagle like that. And there's a couple of crisp 1-digs that came out of that round, but absolutely no reason for them to be facing like that in the way that they did. The two players up towards Titanic, because down both of them went. Max then had to worry about drop down and Titanic, where he knew players were coming from. He gets 1-digged, but even if he didn't, I don't think they could have done anything, or he could have done anything in that situation that wouldn't have ended in, you know, him getting a trade. And Endpoint have got themselves from basically being in the driving seat, being able to get 13-4, 14-4, win the first buy, force them onto an eco, onto map 2, to where it could go any way now, because Seal Esports have got their foot in the door on this T side. They'll be able to go for, well, they've already got one AK up in the mix, but they'll be able to go full AKs. Jakey got the M4 that came up last time, but I think they're going to be on double eco, yep. So they can't buy into this next round. So we'll get this 6 and that one 7. Winner buy. Something they're going to be breathing right down Endpoint's neck. But you never know, there is a chance that they could dig their heels in here again. Loves to find 4 crisp faces with the Deeg in hand. It's been done before. He did it a couple of rounds ago with a silenced USP. Crank and Max get one. Jakey gets one over towards the rock. Chance for a second. Jakey to potentially going huge. Maybe feeling a little too overconfident going for that third shot over towards Titanic. But by the same token, not too many places he could have gone to. Maybe fallen behind the wall at tree. But position known, utility might end up causing problems for him. It doesn't quite pan out. But Endpoint doing good economic damage, dropping weapons. It's not too much of a problem for Seal. They can keep buying into this one. Pete maybe going to be tempted to keep the ump. Weapon like that, 200% kill bonus for any that you do pick up. Keep building that bankroll. You've got 4 AKs around you, so if one of those go down, you can grab that. Leaves you well set to be dropping weapons to your teammates, even if things start to slide in the opposite direction. Maybe you can trade up AWP for AK or something, if they want to utilise that going forward. Endpoint on the pistol. No crazy strats being lined up at this point. It's going to sit and stack over towards the A site and wait and hope. Let's go with the bomb. Crank spots Max in the connector. Max taking a few bullets. Bit of a wake-up call for him, and down goes Pete. So he was down in the mid area as the plant comes in over towards the B site. Jakey gets a frag on mono, so that's going to be an AK they can retrieve. Bit of bad luck actually that you go and kill a guy in mid and the weapon that he's got, well, you get the ump player instead of one of the AKs. Jakey shows himself before he's able to react. And down goes that weapon. And it's just going to be sitting and waiting and looking for an exit frag. Chance for Max to pick that one up, but Pio, infinite knowledge peeking that corner. Also like he pre-fired it on my screen actually. I don't know how he will have known to look there for Lazar other than premonition. Maybe something on death cam, I'm not sure, but yeah, very unusual. Doesn't matter, the chances of retrieving an AK are lost. Endpoint going double AWP, so committing heavily on the finances. Jakey skips in the mid, Lazar with the AWP. Taking that over towards side. Where's that other AWP on Pulse? Oh no, Lazar actually over towards the the fountain, and down he goes, and down goes one of the orbs. Pulse over towards the side. Guessing this is a premeditated thing, but some of the performances that we've seen just on stream with games I've watched of Luzzer over towards the side area on A with the AWP in hand, I suggest that maybe that should be his place, but there you go. Probably the reason why other people coach Endpoint and I just talk about it. Just Max ups himself up into the window and back into A. Jakey takes one before he's insta-peaked. Good work from CL Esports getting the trade. Max doing what he can with the AWP, and then drops himself to Stables. He may get away with this. No players over towards Stables. I think he's got the numbers advantage, and will be able to call that out for his teammates. So bomb has been dropped. Aaron gets cracked, gets the second player. They know where he is then towards APC. Frag comes in from Pulse up in the balcony window, and nice work there from Team Endpoint to pull that one home. Shaky did the hard work, got the opening pick in mid. Nicely traded out by two CL Esports players, almost tripping over each other to try and get the refrag, and that's exactly what you need. I think that's the difference that you get at this sort of level compared to the kind of level that I play at, where you just can't guarantee the reface is going to come in. There's that Luzzer with a good assist from Aaron. I think that must have been the Molotov that he threw that did the damage. Pio able to find Luzzer though, and he's been kept fairly quiet with that AWP in hand actually over towards the B site. Gets traded out pretty quickly there. Last time was caught over on the fountain with it. Mighty Mats gets caught as well by players coming in from both directions. Aaron trying to hold off both Drop Down and Titanic at the same time, but down he goes. And that is such a tough ask. Such a tough ask. We see Oscar, he's in Drop Down. Probably heard the movement from Connector. Jakey going to save. Keep hold of that M4. Polska save the AWP as well. Now we'll live to fight another day, but Endpoint find themselves instantly reset. And holding the B site over on Cobblestone. It's one of those places where we're going to see a similar kind of thing when we get on train for the second map as well for locking things down in main. But it's very difficult. You need everyone to do their job here. As you need to make sure that the Titanic is locked down so that any players that are round about the drop down area in front of us here is covered, and vice versa. Because what tends to happen is if you're watching for someone to come out of drop down and then your teammate is covering you behind it, Titanic goes down, you think, oh right, I've got to react, I've got to deal with that. You spin and try and deal with this and try and get some flashes in to try and slow them down or something. Right at the point when drop down, someone comes out of there and kills you and shoots you from behind. The whole reason they do that is because you're worried about being shot from behind. And talking about that, Aaron, he's got himself up onto Titanic, and he trades it straight back with a couple of frags. That was 3 for him. Just gets himself up close and personal. CL Esports tripping over each other, tripping over Aaron. Getting lost in the smoke that's up there. And down they go. Well, this is a backwards and forwards, a seesaw affair. Endpoint seem to be coming out on top here. 14-8 then. 1 away from at least guaranteeing overtime. That's the worst they're going to get out of this contest. But don't peek! Don't peek! Come on. Mighty Max goes and tries to get aggressive. And I can kind of see the point of that, but there's also not really any need. Like, just wait. There are enough areas on this map on CT side where you can absorb a little bit of pressure. I've seen plenty of players sit back, solo AWP on A, sitting back towards the site. That's completely the wrong site. That's completely the wrong site. You can see why I'm not going to get any observing gigs anytime soon. But over towards the A site, a solo AWP up here, sitting on this crack in the wall. You can peek down into mid from here. You can look towards side. Pretty much, if a T player is going to want to come out of the side area, they're going to give you some kind of utility. They're going to flash out. They're going to smoke. They're going to give you some clue that they're coming. So you can look in that direction, you can drop off, you can throw flashes, that sort of thing. Over towards the B site as well, you can absorb a little bit as, oh, nice work from Jakey and Aaron as they work together, and they're going to get this defuse in. And all actually pans out all right, but in my personal opinion, I don't think it's worth, with Endpoint in the driving seat, putting themselves under threat by facing angles where they could get away with waiting. It's perfectly plausible that if you get 2 players in drop down, 2 players worrying about the long B area, using flashes, smokes, Molotovs, nades to slow down those pushes. If the drop down players, if they get flashed out, can call the information and make sure that their teammates know if they go down where the action is going to be coming from and can react quickly enough, you can sit and you can wait and you can be passive over towards that B site. If you get information, even if you want to play 2A, as long as you've got one top of middle connector that can come fast rotate and back up into drop down, it's not too much of a problem. No need to be quite that pushy unless you're feeling it. So Pio, he gets Jakey, so he tries to rotate in from the B area. Got information on P, who tries to create an angle, and Mighty Max is equal to that. His 3rd frag of the round. And he's gone and tied himself with Pulse, both of them on 22 frags apiece here. First map of this best of 3. Both these teams have reached the last 8 of the competition.
Bomb has been planted.
So bomb plant over towards the A site. 2v1 situation in favour of Pio. Looking through the gap, so he might be able to take one of the players out, and does on Mighty Max. Again, on my screen, looks like he had a bit of a pre-fire going on. And does get Pulse as well. Nice in the re-peak, and nice little clutch from Pio. We live to fight another day. Match point still showing up on the scoreboard. Mixed fortunes for Endpoint, but should be able to put a nice buy together. Yeah, then above drop down, go try and get control of that if they can. Luzza have to get out there, 5 HP and an AWP. Little treacherous. I think perhaps good for Luzza that utility is getting committed en masse in the direction of drop down, as he is 1 nade or 1 Molotov away from losing that 5 HP very quickly. He's sitting up on the fountain, and it's a really difficult area. As soon as you get spotted there, and you can't really use it for cover, and we see the point. Luzza didn't get the call quite quickly enough about drop down. He spins and tries to do something about it, but by the time he does, he's already taken out. Pete with the AWP misses that shot, misses again, Pete. And he gets taken down to 12 points of health in the fire. Jakey and Pulse